shine. She's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie, the riveter, keeps a sharp lookout for sabotage. Sitting up there on the fuselage, that little frail can do more than a male can do. Rosie, the riveter. Rosie's got a boyfriend, Charlie. Charlie, he's a Marine. Rosie is protecting Charlie, working overtime on the riveting machine. When they gave her a production knee, she was as proud as a girl could be.
Before I begin with the update on my new build, thanks to all my subscribers. My channel reached the fantastic number of 200 subscribers today. It's something that amazes me and I'm speechless. Since it happened so fast during the last 3 days, it's too late to get a kit for a giveaway, but there'll be one as soon as there are 215 subs to my channel. That's a promise, and I keep my promises. As I said in the previous video, the truck's rear end needed to be corrected. I started with removing the rear bumpers and the towing lock. As I expected, the bumpers were too damaged to be used again. I've got plastic sheet and several gauges, and for building new bumpers I chose 0.4mm. After measuring and drawing the shape onto the sheet, I cut out the two pieces. I used a pair of pliers and a 3mm drill bit to do some pre-shaping. Then I built a 5mm extension to the frame using 1mm and 0.4mm plastic sheet. After the super glue had cured completely, I added the new bumpers and the towing lock, for which I had made a mounting plate from 1.5mm plastic sheet.
Rosie, Rosie, Rosie.
A maintenance scene needs an engine, and I got this nicely detailed one from CMK Models. What I didn't like at all were the plugs. They were huge for those tiny parts, and I was really scared to damage, destroy or lose them. But all parts that belonged to an engine were included. The starter, the ignition coil, the distributor, the air filter, the header, the intake manifold and the fan. All I needed now was a solution on how to cut the pieces off of the plugs.
What's cooking? Do you feel like booking some fun tonight? Hey, 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 good looking. If you're not already tooken, won't you meet me soon in the moonlight? Why don't we two go roaming where there's gloaming, where the stars are combing the skies above?
Well, I was lucky because I've got this razor saw bit from my motor tool. I can hold it like a pen, which makes working much easier for me. I worked out on my terrace and used a mask. Please keep that in mind when you work with resin parts. Use wet sanding paper for sanding and wash your hands and arms after you've finished. The dust is dangerous to your health. As you can see, I was able to cut off all pieces without any problems. I stowed them away safely for further use. The firewall won't fit, but that was clear before I started working on the engine. I'll have to build it from scratch. The large part that includes both front fenders had to be converted. I had to remove the oil pan and the bell housing because they're included in the engine. The gearbox is needed later, so I kept that piece. I glued both fenders separately onto the frame, and I was glad there weren't any fit or alignment issues. Look at that. Here you can see how old that molding is. Italia was still spelled with AE instead of just E.
Good looking, giving and we'll begin cooking that delay.
Why do I show the instruction sheet again? Well, first off, the instructions don't tell you too much on where exactly to glue the parts to the engine block. Then they want you to make the drive belt from 0.7mm stretch wire, whatever that means. In the end, the assembly wasn't too complicated. Everybody can do it. It's just a matter of looking carefully and some dry fitting. For the drive belt, I cut a strip of 0.2mm plastic sheet, which worked perfectly well.
What do they say when they see me coming their way? Diddy Jackson, you're as sharp as a tack, with the belt in your bag. I'm draped.
Since I want to leave the air filter off, I had to look for some piece of resin or plastic that I could use as a carburetor. I found a nice bit of resin and I drilled a hole into it to represent the intake.
No mind to the conversation with my nose in the air. Nevertheless, I swear they holler. He ain't only classy, but he's fat and he's sassy. Oh, what do they shout when they see me cutting on out?
The engine fits nicely between the two fender parts. Only the starter sits a little lower than the two supporting plates.
A jack is sharp as a tack.
I cut out that little area and now the engine sits fine. I was looking for a solution to show as much of the engine as possible, although it's mounted to the truck. Here it is. The louvers on the sidewalls are a bolted-on piece on the original vehicle. I wanted to replicate that. I used strong aluminum foil and burnished it onto the sidewall. Then I cut out that piece and sanded the shape off of the plastic part. After that I cut a matching hole into the original part and drilled 3 holes for the bolts into both parts. I plan to do that job for both sides of the truck, but I haven't decided yet if I really do that. The idea came to my mind when I remembered one of Semyon's videos. He built the exhaust shrouds for his Tiger 1 in a very similar way.
All the day long, whether rain or shine, she's a part of the assembly line. She's making history.
With some wiring and detailing the engine.
The riveter keeps a sharp lookout for sabotage, sitting up there on the fuselage. That little frail can do more than a male can do. Rosie, the riveter. Rosie's got a boyfriend, Charlie. Charlie, he's a Marine.